Steve, I know just from my own personal experience, I'm not going to go into any detail, but even just recently having things that can only be prescribed to spiritual oppression that make no sense otherwise, that it's just amazing. And it does come with this heaviness that people feel, like the tension, the toxic atmosphere that can be, it's palpable. And I'm not the only one. I'm talking to many other people who are going through similar problems. And just like you said earlier, people who are who are stuck on something or in some habits or in a frame of mind, it's like it's becoming more and more oppressive, harder to get out of. And we all, even with all the praying and Bible reading and everything they can do and are trying to do, it's still coming very fast and hard. And it's like a trap to some people. And we do get those emails. And it is very sad. And then we have our own personal experiences that we're all each dealing with in that same area as well.
Well, and again, and this is what is going to, the ghost in the machine, it's only going to get worse. So what's interesting, too, about this, listen, I pray for the fires to go out, but I also pray for God to make it clear, whether it's a campfire, whether it's a lightning bolt, whatever, is that when you've got open Satanists sharing on, for instance, the Daily Mail right now, that their homes have been obliterated and their homes are in ruins. I don't know if most people, those who live in California have been around Malibu, but I'm telling you this, Malibu in the last 20 years has gotten very dark spiritually. And the area around here, remember the scripture, people get mad when God judges evil. Isn't it amazing? They blame God for everything, but yet when God starts to say, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore, it seems like he gets the hardest time from his people. You want to explain that to me, Doug? That's almost an investigator kind of question.
Well, Steve, the other part of that too is it rains on the just and unjust alike. Does that fit into what you're saying?
Absolutely, and listen, when the wicked rule, the righteous mourn, and our days of mourning started back in the Clinton days and even the Bush days. The point being is now we're in big trouble. Yeah. And Doug, I said before, Branson, I'm just reiterating this for reasons, okay? If I'm so wrong all the time, why has everything changed?
Oh, very much.
You guys were there. You heard me say that.
And that's I don't want to take away from your time, but I think Steve, I got to tell you, when you mentioned that to me months really before, Branson, and then to see it today. Those words are haunting, to say the least.
Well, they're relevant, okay?
Yes.
And here's the deal. Jesus said, and I've quoted this so many times that I think people don't get it, but Jesus had to deal with his inquisitive disciples, and rightly so, by, if I've told you earthly things and you believe me not, how can I tell you heavenly things? And see, that's the challenge to us all. We can quote Ephesians 6, we can talk about spiritual warfare, we can do this, we can do that, but what we're not doing is basically taking the world by storm. We're being steamrolled by storm and allowing the world to do the same thing to Christianity, what the mainstream vomit brokers have done to Donald Trump. They control a narrative. They throw lies into the narrative. And again, let me go on record as making one statement. Hal Lizzie said it the best. President Trump is not a godly man, but President Trump is God's man. And what is interesting to me, again, is the people I fight with in my email. They cannot see beyond their bias. They cannot see the bigger picture. If God said, and I'm saying this, that almost sounds like the devil, but as God has said, I'll change it, that he uses one wicked nation to judge another nation, then destroys the judging nation against the wicked nation. That, by the way, that happened in the history of Israel numerous times. Then you can understand why you've had U.S. hating people in the White House, and I would call it in the shadow house, and every part of our government penetrated with a cancer-like hatred for not only white people, but for the Constitution. And by the way, my statement there is not racist because it's a realist. There are blacks, there are Latinos, and white people that get the whole thing about nation rising against nation. It's because, guess what, everyone? Those are the three groups that, the New World Order wants to kill off. They want a hybridized nation of gods. They want to return to the Titans. They want to return to the days of Mount Olympus. They want to return to the days of where they know everything and have the power, almost unlimited power. What happens when everybody's fighting for the top spot in God? What happens when you get, let's say, Titan A, even financial Titan A, fighting financial Titan B, and financial Titan C, and C and B get together and say, we're going to take out A, and then we'll split his stuff. It goes for the human nature and for the fallen nature of men and also of fallen angels. Because, again, when you understand that demons are the disembodied spirits of the giants with their appetites, their perversion, their lust for flesh, you can make sense out of all of these, like the little person that was put into what is a nursery school in Britain and bitten 15 times, big chunks out of her, permanently disfiguring her face and stuff. God bless that little person. But again, we're seeing now so much bizarreness, okay, B-I-Z-A-R-R-E, bizarreness, that literally men's hearts are absolutely not able to embrace this stuff. I've had emails all day long, and I pray, by the way, when you guys send me those emails, I pray for you. I don't put them out there to anybody, but, some of these guys are tough, and they're saying, Steve, this, and I'm sorry if this offends you, and I won't say it, but this scares the you-know-what out of me, and they say what it scares out of them, because they say, look, I've been in combat, I've seen stuff in Iraq that most people don't even understand. We've seen every form of paranormal manifestation, and yet this stuff is scaring me, what they see going on. And then when you understand that the veterans were killed off and by the tens of thousands under the Obama regime, remember when, Doug, we talked about that, and it got so bad that if literally, if God hadn't intervened, I doubt there'd be any veterans left alive, and I mean that seriously, because nothing scares the New World Order shills more than a group of men who are trained to fight and will fight as they've trained, and they are capable of resisting the senseless slaughter of the innocents that's coming.